if you were laid off, let me guess, they told you that it wasn't performance related, the company decided to move in a different direction, we don't have enough money, and we're restructuring the team and restructuring the company.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
Advice I wish I had before I was made redundant. Quick backstory, I had given an awful lot of myself to a company. I knew the ins and outs of the company. I was the go-to person for any kind of problem. I didn't think for a second I would be made redundant. It came as a huge shock to me, and although I've got quite a lot of advice I'd give to that girl a few years ago, the one thing that I would love everyone to take from this is invest in yourself. Please invest in your personal brand, invest in your personal development, your professional development, developing your network and your relationships and your connections outside of the job that you're doing now, regardless of how secure you feel, because I felt so safe in that job. I didn't think for a second I would ever be made redundant, and suddenly I was in that situation. I would have been able to navigate it a lot easier and with less fear and with more control had I had spent some time investing in myself and my network and my personal brand and LinkedIn. It would have made the next few weeks and months a lot easier to navigate whilst I figured out my next move. Spoiler, it worked out better than I'd have ever expected, and it is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me, but it also would have been easier had I have done that work early on.
My job just laid off 14 people. Thank God I was not one of them, so I'm very thankful for that. I don't know who all 14 people are yet, but on my very small team of 4, 3 of us agents and 1 manager. They let go of our manager and one of our agents. So there's a very small team of 2. I am the senior agent, but we have no manager. Our COO, who's overseeing the CX team, is now the CEO. So as of right now, the customer support team has no management. It's going to be a great day.
If the business that you work for is currently going through a restructuring process, here are some of my best tips for dealing with that situation. Now, my first tip is about talking to your manager to make sure you can try and get as much information on the situation as possible. When a company announces that they're restructuring, it can be an incredibly uncertain time. You might have a lot of questions. There's a lot of uncertainty about what is going to happen to your role. Collate all your key questions about the situation, set up some time with your line manager, and ask away. My second tip is to get as much information you can about what the restructuring process is going to look like and what the timelines are. So often a company will announce their restructuring, and there'll be a certain set of steps and processes that will follow that announcement, which might involve assessing different teams, assessing different roles and responsibilities, and then having a hard cutoff date of when all the new roles and new structures will actually be live from. My third tip is to support your colleagues during this time and also ask for support if you need it as well. Hope those tips help, and make sure you follow for more. Cheers.
And I have represented a number of people that have been told that the company is restructuring, and because of the restructuring that they no longer have that individual's position anymore. Their position has been eliminated, or as a part of a reorganization, they are moving the responsibilities elsewhere. They don't need that anymore, whatever it is, right? But then it's only that person that's been impacted. And when that's the case, then you're like, what the hell? Like, who's doing this work now? Who is doing it before? Who's doing it now? Where are these responsibilities going? And what are the circumstances leading up to this decision? When has this decision been made? When was it? Was it after they returned back from pregnancy leave, maternity leave, or before? Or perhaps when they asked for a reasonable accommodation, or when they had complained about sexual harassment or any kind of discrimination? When did you decide to restructure your workplace to get rid of one person? And let me tell you, it happens a lot.
We are on corporate restructure day, either 3 or 2, depending on how you look at it. About 24 hours ago, we're getting ready for our meeting where they announced the restructure, and then it proceeded with everybody having a one-on-one all day yesterday. And my sole job was to just sit there and be support for the team. Really, no, I still have a job. We lost 2 people. I still don't have a job offer for my new role. I don't know who reports to me. The people that have roles have changed, how do I tell them to like keep working when we don't even know what the new roles entail or what they look like? I don't know.
Okay, so with all the layoffs going on in the job market right now and current economic, challenges and whatnot, I figured I'd give my 2 cents as someone who was laid off in 2022. Now, in 2022, I was laid off from Wells Fargo. I was with them over 10 years, and it was not performance related. I was simply displaced. My position was eliminated, effective immediately. I had no idea this was going to happen. I was actually returning from vacation, and that's all I heard. But here are a few things that I learned that hopefully you can implement, and it comes from a place of empathy and understanding as I've been through it myself. And if you're going through it right now or you've been through it, maybe you can relate. Number one, and this one is possibly the most important one, is remove your ego from the equation of all of this. Meaning, strictly business. It sucks to hear it. It sucks to say it when you're on the receiving end, right? But the fact of the matter is, you must move with a sense of urgency and purpose. You have your family to support, yourself, your goals and things in life that you're still trying to accomplish. Don't let one job, one career interfere with that. Now, this is just one obstacle of many. You're going to need to apply, and I mean every single day. Optimize your resume for each job application you submit. Don't just use the same one. Another super important tip is to network with people you've worked with before, because they may know someone in the family or their network who can possibly get you into another organization. And also use social media like LinkedIn, Facebook, or whatever you can if you don't have direct access to those people. Now, it's going to be a longer video than usual, but I say this again from a place of empathy and understanding as someone who's been through it. I get it. We're expecting a recession, no, we're not. There's a new administration, there was a previous one, there was COVID. I mean, you can bring up basically any economic challenge, and there was some sort of obstacle there, but there was also many people and businesses who thrived. The fact of the matter is that what was working for you is now no longer working. So adapt to that change as quickly as you can to avoid repercussions of not being able to meet your financial goals, not being able to pay your bills and support yourself and your family, and then also to move on with the next chapter of your life, because no one wants to be stuck in this position forever, right? If you need help with this, let me know. DM me, put it in the comments. I'll gladly help everybody out.
Guys, yesterday I got laid off by Microsoft, and today I'm in the aquarium. So, who actually got laid off?
There were several meetings today. Each one had a piece to the puzzle that was being formed throughout the day. Got some pieces in the morning, a few more pieces at lunchtime, and then we finished the puzzle at the end of the day. Good news is I still have a job. I'm still gainfully employed. I'm in a leadership role, and I will still be managing people. At least for the foreseeable future, I will be managing project managers instead of a program. That will be my biggest adjustment, but the ladies currently on that team, they're wonderful. They have appeared to welcome me with open arms.
There's another wave of layoffs happening right now. To everybody being laid off, please know it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. This is not a reflection of your value, of your worth, of the quality of the work that you were doing. These were business decisions that were made that were out of your control. There's no way that you could have predicted this. There's no way that you could have stopped this from happening. What I want you to do during this time, collect yourself, read carefully your severance agreement, get an employment lawyer to read it over, or a lawyer friend, or just get a second set of eyes to take a look at it. There are elements of your severance agreement that you can negotiate, like getting your PTO paid out, the length of your severance payment. Next, please take all the time that you need to process these feelings. It is difficult. It is confusing and disorienting. It is somebody pulling the rug from under you. It is unfair and it is painful for somebody to grab your livelihood from you. But it's not your fault. And I need you to really believe that. For the next coming weeks and until you find something, live below your means, take a close look at your budgets. Know where your money is going. Cancel subscriptions. Stop any unnecessary spending. Protect your livelihood. And when you're ready, create a strategy for job hunting. Network. Reach out to people because they're more than willing to help you during this time. This is hard. I know. It sucks. Cry, yell, scream, punch pillows, scream into a pillow. Do what you need to do. Get these feelings out. We need to keep it moving afterwards, okay? You got this.
A lot of times in life, when we are let go, we think that it's all on us. And we put that guilt and that blame and that shame on us. If they restructured the company, it is not your fault. At times in this life, things happen that are totally out of our control. And I just want to say that all of you who have been let go from your job, please take heart and just be encouraged and try to find a new job. There is almost nothing that you could have done to prevent that.
I was just let go from my job and I'm 5 months pregnant. Unfortunately, I did not tell anybody there that I was pregnant, so they did not know that I was pregnant. However, in America, we have at-will employment, which means that you can literally be fired at any time for any reason, but you cannot be fired because you're pregnant. You cannot be fired because you're old. You cannot be fired because you're black. However, they can want to fire you for those reasons and then look for other more valid reasons. And if you were to bring a lawsuit forward, it would be really hard to prove that they purposely let you go because you were pregnant. For me, my only shot would be if I had just a bang-in attorney who was able to subpoena records, like to see private emails and text messages to see if higher ups who had a hand in letting me go had talked about the fact that I was pregnant as a liability. That's a lot of what ifs. I don't have the money to pay an attorney to do that. And I honestly don't think it's worth it. And I really know that I wasn't let go because I'm pregnant, because other people were let go. It really was just the endless, god-awful restructuring. I do want to take the time to plug other countries where, yeah, it is basically illegal to fire anybody. In a lot of European countries, you need to either provide them with other employment or provide them with financial assistance through their unemployment.
Damn, so I'm seeing more layoffs. Let's talk about it. So went into work yesterday, didn't even make it to the fence of the property. I see somebody in another department with her box packed up. Go inside the building, they done laid out more people on the job. Now, normally people that's never paid attention, they always think that the people with the least seniority go first. They start at the top. And then they cut maybe some at the bottom. Well, I've been at this company for 2.5 years. And I've been telling them that the pandemic was planned and that they are planning for a recession, but it's going to be worse than the last one we had. Nobody believed it. Nobody believed it. And now they believe it. They were spooked Wednesday when we found out about my team. Yesterday, they hit 4 departments, I believe. Today, they supposed to have a meeting it was about 12:30. I'm waiting to see if any more people are walking out today. I fully believe that 90% of the United States is about to be laid off. Now, mind you, they're trying to get rid of Medicaid, SNAP benefits, unemployment is about to be back the fuck up. They talked about the food pantries possibly turning people away as well in my city. You just invited 8,000 white Africans here and offering them free shit. So you mean to tell me that the United States is not intentionally causing this? It don't matter who you vote for, because he in on it too. That man is just a puppet. So if your own people cannot access the resources that we pay into, but a motherfucker can get a luxury flight here and get the benefits without question, what do you think that's going to happen? That's going to piss everybody off and essentially cause the purge. I already seen people said, we going to be stealing food. Y'all remember back when them white people hired black people probably about a year or so ago to go in and raid those luxury stores so they can sell them online? What you think gonna happen when people get hungry? They gonna get ski masks and masks, food haul, everybody in the store take food and run. This is what's about to happen. Now, what I'm thinking about is we have a lot of young people in the military. A lot of them are on TikTok seeing what's going on. I'm surprised they have not kicked every person that's in the military and banned them from TikTok. Because y'all see what's going on. If they incite martial law, either y'all gonna turn against them or be with us. Because when you look at everything, you are seeing that this is the rich versus the poor. You know, I sit here and think they gotta be working together, because how do companies like UPS Amazon, I forgot what else. They named, the other day they named a bunch of companies that made record profit. And y'all made record profit, but y'all not paying livable wages. And y'all all decided to lay off at the same time. But remember, you made record profit. So why are you laying off? So they're laying off because the other one's laying off because we all gotta work together. We can't pay $30 an hour like we should, because that means you would have to come to $30 an hour. Y'all, they working together. They're working together. I mean, we at some point y'all gotta see the shit. Who cares who voted for what? They working together, and 90% of us about to be laid off, struggling to get resources. This shit is sad. And I tell you what, if them other countries see us starting to January 6th, if they see some shit like that, you don't think they're gonna come over here? Because that's gonna be the perfect time for them to come over here and start something, because then the United States ain't paying the goddamn attention. But we already know that they snitched on them, that they got underground cities and bunkers. So they gonna hide while we suffer. Y'all remember in Obama's movie now, where did all the rich go? Do y'all remember that the little girl went into the millionaire's home and it was a bunker? But if they got underground cities, is it possible that the millionaires' homes, some of them, not all, because I don't believe everybody has access, houses are attached to these underground tunnels leading them into the underground cities? I don't know, man, but this sounds like pre-planned movie. The Obama's trying to tell us that y'all are on y'all goddamn own. I don't know, man. Maybe this is just conspiracy talk, or maybe I watch too many goddamn movies. I don't know.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
Did anyone else get laid off from Microsoft today? No, just my husband. Yeah, unfortunately, we had some surprise news this morning. There was a bunch of layoffs at Microsoft, and a lot of people in Seattle, Bellevue area did get laid off with severance packages, including him. So we now have a big decision to make, whether we stay here in the US or go back to Australia. It all depends on where he can find another job. So yeah, if anyone has any job opportunities or contacts for, jobs in tech, in program management, coding, that kind of stuff, yeah, just hit me up in the comments, especially if it's here in the Seattle, Bellevue area, or even back in Australia, like in Sydney, Sunshine Coast, Brizzy. We're open to seeing what we can get and seeing where this leads. Okay, thanks.
Anyone out there go through a long streak of unemployment and then you finally find something, you have to go back to work? Like, how do you prepare yourself for it? How do you mentally wrap your head around jumping back into an everyday, working schedule? I feel like I'm struggling so much. I was unemployed for 9 months and it took so long to find something, but I finally found something and I'm grateful. But now I'm just like, ugh.
I got laid off today after 10 years at the most amazing company. I didn't think it would happen, but I kind of thought it would happen at some point. I got the email. Your role has been impacted. And today, let me tell you, has been a whirlwind of emotion. And I think that a lot of people, when they get laid off, they're sad, they're angry, it is what it is. To me, this is just another sign that God has always had my back and that there are more blessings coming. And I wasn't going to post this because there's a lot of haters out there I need to put my evil eye on. But I'm just so thankful. So if I've ever worked with you or this comes across your page and you were my client at one point, thank you. Drop in the comments a memory of working with me. And if you know of anyone that's hiring, holler at your girl. I think I'm going to document this journey. Okay, love y'all.
At times when bad things happen to us, it is for the best. And we may not realize it at that specific time, but a few years later, it may be for the best. So you guys never know. One thing has to stop working to make space for another thing to start working and to work in your favor. That is another way to look at things.
What's never talked about when it comes to layoffs is the rebuilding phase. I just got a great new job. I'm so excited and happy in it, but there is a phase where you are still rebuilding from the damage that was done when you didn't have a job, how you drained your savings account, how you stopped paying credit cards, how things in your life changed because you had to adjust. And that phase does not just end the second you get a new job. That continues on for like a month or 2 months or whatever until you kind of get back on your feet. And I just feel like that's never talked about. Like, people that go through layoffs only go through the hardship of being laid off and going through that and putting yourself out there and making applying to jobs your full-time job and all of the above. But there's also a rebuilding phase that those people are going through as well. So if you're going through a layoff, if you're in the rebuilding phase, if you know somebody, please send yourself some love, give them a hug, whatever it is, because it is hard. You are doing the best that you can with it.
I think this is the best advice if your company gets taken over, and nobody will give it to you. Or at least nobody gave it to me when my company was taken over by a big consulting firm back in the day. And I've advised lots of companies more recently that are taking people over and seen through the process, and you see the same thing happen. Everyone obsesses when you get taken over around the idea of maintaining your culture and what made the company successful. That's not going to be your problem. Your problem is you might be successful in protecting yourself from change, and then you won't move on.
En route to my Thanksgiving destination, and I come to you with 5 signs that your company will do layoffs. Number 1, planned IPO is canceled. When the company plans to list their stock publicly and give employees stock as a part of their compensation, but after talking about it for years, the plans were suddenly canceled with no explanation why, that's a sign the company is doing bad, and your best bet is to start looking for a job then. Number 2, CMO, CEO, and other important people for the company quit, or even worse, they're being laid off. Doesn't matter if your CEO retires, quits, or whatever happens, any restructuring and big higher up people are leaving, that's a big red flag, and that's a sign for you to look for a new job. Number 3, and this one was very prominent to me, is your boss avoiding you or literally ghosting you. I've had so many meetings with my boss that were scheduled and canceled, or so many messages left unread before this layoff that I knew something was up. Number 4 is subscriptions being canceled. If you were using any software for your job that is essential, and your boss or other higher-ups are asking you if they can cancel that, that is a big red flag, especially if the subscription is really cheap. For example, Figma, $300 per year, or stock photos. Services like that are not a big expense for a company, so if they are trying to save a buck by canceling those, you know the foundations are shaking. Which brings me to a very general point, number 5, declining profits. This is something that you can either notice or the higher-ups are going to talk about openly when the sales are just dying and your company is financially doing bad. In case you don't hear from anyone directly that the company is doing bad, look for small signs such as travel and expense freezes, as I was talking about previously, the subscriptions, but not only that. Pay attention whether people who are always traveling are traveling less. And of course, if your boss uses the sentence, not that we are broke as a company, that is the nail to the coffin. Run.
Do not get caught up in these restructuring layoffs. You cannot rely on any company right now for security. You have to create your own opportunity. Your opportunity lies in creating a service using your skill set so that you can attract quality leads for your 6-figure consulting agency. You need a signature offer, one that is profitable and in demand, one that also attracts your quality leads. And if you want to learn more about creating your offer, come join me tomorrow as I teach on creating your signature consulting offer. I will be on Zoom live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All of the information is in my profile.
there was company-wide layoffs that were happening where WPP is trying to consolidate a lot of their media agency silos. So like we knew that there was going to be layoffs happening and the client is under review. So yeah, I had a feeling my job was going to get cut, and unfortunately it did, and I just moved here to New York City. I mean, I expected it.
I had to fire somebody today that I absolutely really did not have a say in, and I'm really unwell right now. My company is going through a lot of restructuring and business is down. We are cutting budgets all over the place, and unfortunately my department has been one of the hardest hit. I've had to lay off 4 people so far in the last like 3 months, and just don't know. I don't know how you do it. As a manager, like I don't know. Those of you who know me, like, like I've always wanted to grow in my career. Like I've always put my career first, outside of my family, like nothing else is more important to me than my career. And I'm like, I can't wait to climb. I can't wait to get the title. I can't wait to finally achieve some kind of level of success that to me means like I've made it. Never did I stop to think that along the way of climbing the corporate ladder that I would eventually have to let people go. In this case, I had to let somebody go that was extremely talented, worked her damn ass off, did not deserve it. I had really just about zero say in it. I flagged my concerns, and yet I still had to do it. I have a team of incredibly smart and talented women that, work with me. Never freaking thought about the day that would come that I would just have to do essentially what I call, because my team is small, mass layoffs within my team. I have essentially laid off 50% of my team. I feel awful. Like I'm really having a hard time processing it. And the one in particular that I had to do today, like I cried my ass off after I got off the Zoom with her, because like my colleagues were like, oh, your HR can do it. I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. She was my first hire. There's no fucking way I'm letting an HR person do this. Like, I'm taking the responsibility and I'm doing it. And I did. And I sat on the Zoom with her and I watched her face drop as I had to tell her this super shitty information, and it has destroyed me. I'm putting her out into the job market, and I feel shitty because I know how horrible the market is right now. I have some friends that are recruiters for where I am right now. I was hired by a recruiter, and I've stayed really good friends with her, and she and I have been talking, and she's like, it's really bad out. And so I'm like, I am responsible for putting this person back out there, and it's not a good feeling. And my husband was unemployed for 10 months. Actually, a lot of people in his family don't even know that because he had a lot of shame around it, even though I'm like, there's no shame. The economy is shitty and people are laying people off, but he was unemployed for 10 months. So I know exactly the mental and emotional toll, forget financial, the mental and emotional toll that being let go for out of the blue, literally out of the blue. I know what that's like because I have seen it firsthand. If you are someone that has recently been let go, please know, and maybe I'm naive, but like I would like to think that like it was not an easy decision for your manager or for whoever made that decision. And if your manager was the one to tell you the bad news, like it was not easy for them. I like to think like it was not easy, because this is the absolute hardest day I have ever had in my career. And I've been in my industry for 12 years. This is the worst freaking day I have ever had in my career. And if you are a manager and you are letting people go for the first time, just know it's going to suck. Like, it's really going to suck. It's going to mentally and emotionally drain you. And, whether people deserve it or not, well, if people deserve it, then it's a lot easier to do. Or if their time has just come and it's like, okay, you're doing this for their own good because they're just too comfortable and you're like, you need to move on. That's one thing. If you are letting people go that genuinely do not deserve it, it's going to fucking destroy you. It's going to crush you. Just know that. I have to learn how to process this, and I don't know. I cried a little bit about it. I have been reaching out to my entire network on behalf of this woman, super talented woman. And I'm like, I have this amazing social media manager. I would love to recommend her if you have anything. Like, I really am making it my goal to try my best to help her find something new.
But that is where we are. It is really tough right now. I feel so helpless, and I feel like I fought so hard and all of that was invalidated, and was basically told that like I was wrong and like they were just making the decision even though I flagged concerns. But it's a shitty thing, and there's only so much you can do. So yeah, today, worst day of my career. Absolutely the absolute worst day of my career. Worse than me getting fired from my first job. Like, just horrible. And so I'm trying to figure out how to process that right now.
This is the other side of mass layoffs. If you are a manager, it is hard to lay people off. Those people who have so much potential, so much talent, and they work hard, those are the hardest people to lay off because they deserve a raise instead of being laid off from their job. And it's hard when you have no say in that specific person staying or leaving, even if you advocate for them. It's painful. And at times you are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Your employer's telling you that the reason why they're terminating you is because they're having to restructure the company and perhaps your position has been eliminated, or that they're going through some financial issues, and due to that you have to be let go because you cost the company so much money. I feel like this needs to be said, but please don't trust your employer when they're terminating you. It's not the right time. It's never the right time in any circumstance, because the reality is that the company is looking to protect itself. You got to do the same for you. You got to protect yourself by knowing what your rights are. You don't have to sign a severance agreement that's being offered to you because of your vulnerable situation, because of the reasoning that they're giving you for the termination. They're offering you money in exchange for you signing a document. Don't sign that document until you understand what you're giving up on top of the job that you just lost. What they're paying you for is protection from you, from any claims that you have against them.
On company restructuring, how you as an employee can stand out to try to secure your job, just keep in the back of your mind that this is going to happen regardless. It's the nature of the beast. They have to look at their budget and adjust accordingly. However, make sure you are someone who's raising your hand for the right opportunities. Coming in early, staying late, no one's more than likely going to recognize you because they're not coming in or still coming in early or staying late. So you tuck away in a corner if your office coming in early, leaving late. That's not going to help. But what you can do is raise your hand for those sponsorship opportunities when your company actually sponsors something, that you actually go and represent the company. When they actually have sponsored races, that you go sit at their table and pass out that swag. Also, again, take key notes of different things that you're doing that are successful to the company, that has been an added benefit. I have helped close over 100 sales this month, over 50% of sales, whatever it is, you are documenting that and you are making sure you put that in writing. And when they do acknowledge you in writing, you make sure you highlight that. And in your company reviews, bring those things up for your performance reviews so that when it's time to have the chopping block, you will not be on the top of that list.
I think by now everybody knows that Party City and Big Lots are closing their doors in 2025 and everyone is being laid off. And I want to tell you my story when I worked for top 5 investment banks, and part of restructuring, we brought jobs from New York City to Buffalo, their hub. And then a few years into my position, I was training people in Costa Rica to do some parts of the reporting that I was doing, manual reporting I was doing. And then a few years later, Costa Rica people were training employees in Budapest. And those positions and those functions were moving somewhere else. Companies do that all the time. They want to save on their fixed costs, which is like real estate. Labor is cheaper. Obviously, the labor in New York City is way cheaper than in Buffalo, and then Costa Rica and Budapest. So they just move. It's a public company, and they will move wherever it makes sense for them to make as much money as they can. Anyways, I don't want to be in that position. And that's when I realized, a few years into me working in a corporate job, that I'm like, hey, I need to do something. So I decided to start investing in real estate, purchasing a campground, and doing this since 2017, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
A lot of times people start businesses not because they are passionate per se, but they know that the closest thing to job security is to own your own business. That's the closest thing. When you are self-employed, you make things happen, and you always find work for yourself. At times, things are very challenging, especially in the start, but eventually you figure things out and you employ yourself and grow your own business. That is the main reason why people leave the corporate world and become an entrepreneur.
Oh my goodness, it's so heavy. What's with the box? Oh, I'll just keep all my stuff in a box now. Yeah. Well, I think this is the 6th restructure we've had in the last 12 months, so just easy if I keep my things in a box. Then when I have to move offices, I just pick it up and take it with me. I mean, thank goodness I haven't actually had to leave yet. Most people, you know. I'm like the lead singer of the Sugar Babes. I'm the only original person. Everyone else has changed about 16 times.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.